Are we up? I see no reaction. I see nothing. Got the Wi-Fi right? What's wrong here? Ah, looks good. Okay. We're up and running, are we? Good, good, good. Bunch of explanation, but I think I should wait like till a few more people are here, maybe, before explaining what's going on. Not sure. It won't be the octopus today. What I should do is maybe not explain and let you guys try and guess what I'm doing. That might be more fun. Actually, let's do that. Let's leave it for a while without sort of actually really explaining what's going on. There should actually be quite a lot of, I don't know, there's information here. You know, the fact that there's two prints, this is a no-brainer, of course. Yesterday's event was good. Yokohama, it's a prefectural hall of some kind. It's called Earth Plaza. They promote, you know, ecology and recycling and children of the world be happy together and that kind of stuff, you know. And one of the girls who used to work for me here, she worked for a few months as a print party host before leaving for Cambodia to do, you know, volunteer work. And she's working there now, and she set up, she knew me and she knew them, so she set up an event where we took over some blocks and did a, you know, like a print party, gang style print party, unlike what we do here, 3 or 4 people at a time, spending an hour carefully working through it. It was just a gang style. Put the blocks in a row on the bench, line up at one end and process them like sausages. They had a good fun. I mean, I sound cynical. It was good fun. Me and one of my girls and then some helpers from there. And we processed, I don't know, 150 kids or something. They had a good time. And most of them came out with a nice, not a bad print, you know. We're pretty good at this now, about how to work it so that results look good. So everybody's happy. A lot of mothers, a lot of kids are happy. Doing the color separations for a yokai. That's exactly right. Yes. You'll see in a minute. I'm just getting the paper ready here. You'll see in a minute how the process works. We're gonna. This is my job this morning, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to get it finished during our broadcast time, but whatever. We'll have a go at this. But yeah, this is the job of doing color separations for a pair of our prints today, which I don't think has ever been on camera before. So yeah, maybe actually, I'm considering this as a negative. It's taking time off from the octopus work, but I guess it's a positive. It's a chance to see another job. Yeah, then I guess I should explain then bit by bit what's going on. What I've got here, I worked out in advance what's going to happen. I made my notes and stuff, and there's going to be a requirement for 6 color blocks. That doesn't mean 6 colors, but there's 6 color blocks. So we've got the key block, which remember is for 2 prints, Jed's print and one of the Kyosai Yokai prints. And I've worked out in advance, looking at his master copy and thinking about it, that we're going to need 6 color blocks. So to do that, I'll be having to print this thing 6 times, make some notes on those prints, and transfer those prints to blank blocks. Okay, here we are. Here's a blank piece of wood. I haven't done it yet, but I'll be carving registration marks on a blank piece of wood. There are already registration marks here. So the basic process is this. Put a piece of paper in here, print it, look at the key lines, make notes on where the colors need to go, and then once those notes are done, paste it into the registration marks here, but glue it down rather than try and print it. That means the information has been transferred to a new block ready for carving. So that's what's going to happen over the next hour and a half here. And I guess there's more and more new people going to be coming on here, so whatever you know how this works, help explain what's going on. So what I've done is I've got prepared in my computer files a Photoshop file that has the outlines and the registration marks of what's going on. And what I've done is this is some of that famous double paper that we use. This has the Gampi, thin Gampi, pasted with spray nori on top of those outlines, just to help keep me in touch with where I'm going. And the registration marks are printed on it, which means, of course, we can't use this to go into the registration marks. So what I'm doing right now is I'm first taking these 6 sheets and I'm cutting off extremely carefully. I'm cutting off, it looks like I'm cutting off the registration marks, but what I mean is I'm cutting the paper right to the registration marks. You see what I'm doing? I'm just cutting off right a sliver, right to the edge of that black mark. So this is a perfectly registered piece of paper. That is the registration mark, and that bottom side is the registration mark. But it's confusing for people who see me do this here. Why are you cutting off the registration marks? Well, okay, now we don't need that anymore. Okay, so these are the 6 pieces of paper. They're called kyogo in Japanese. That's the word for the paper that makes the color transfers. I've got 6 kyogo, and they will be printed in turn now on the key block. And I have no idea if there's a million questions or whatever is going to go on back and forth here. It's going to be a bit difficult. The key block, and again, close up of it. Can I get the light right? It's Jed's design. The title of this one is Konbini Yokai. And then the Kyosai one, it's a bit difficult to see what is at this point. It's a fierce looking yokai from old. These are the 6 sheets ready to go in. Am I in view on camera here? I've got some sumi pigment, a brush, and a baron. And what I forgot to prepare is some test paper. So just a second, let me go and get a few sheets of test paper. Hang on a minute. Glasses A, glasses B, glasses C. Welcome to 65. Konbini Yokai. You'll see it come together bit by bit over the next few days. Actually, this is a funny one. I'm not quite sure of the story here. And I'm not quite sure that Jed is either. The way these modern yokai have come together over the past year is that we've sort of created a situation. What if there was a yokai that did such and such? And then based on that, Jed sort of did some sketching and made a physical representation of it. But this one has worked the other way around. I'm not sure if I should admit this, or if it's okay, or if it's not okay, or whatever. But he had the visual idea first. And then he threw it over to me, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, good. What's the story? And he's like, well, I'm not really sure. Which I guess is fine for him. He's an artist. He's thinking visually. It's his job to do that. Okay, this has got to be extremely carefully into this corner. Any discrepancy here and the color blocks won't match. There we go. It's a transfer then of the key lines, a transfer from both sides. Now, the other thing about this too is that once I've started this process now of making color separations, we got to get going on this. It's a humid day here. We had that typhoon yesterday, but it still isn't autumn weather. It's hot and humid. So this paper has a certain amount of moisture in it. It's a certain size. If I took these prints today and goofed around and did some other work later and come back tomorrow and it turned out to be a clear autumn day, I'm dead, because that paper will have shrunk, lost moisture and shrunk, and our color blocks won't match. And this is no joke. This actually happens. So I've got to do this thing today, this morning, right now. And if the emperor visits this morning or something and I have to spend time with him, I'm in trouble. That's a joke, of course, right? Right. We got a problem already. Johnson, the young Chinese boy who's working with us, he and I are wrestling about what's an acceptable type of glue to paste down the Hansta, to paste down the tracings. And I use a white glue cut with water to give me a good stick, but an ability to wash. And he's using this too strong glue to paste down the tracing. After he finishes carving, we try printing, and it doesn't work. Parts of the glue are still left on his block, and it's not taking pigment. And he and I have wrestled about this, and I'm telling him, use a weaker glue. And he's like, well, it comes off while I'm carving. Using a sharpening stone to dress the top of the block. Try and get that glue off without hurting. Yeah, I can see it. All right. I know somebody's asking about those metal protection things. What I'm doing right now is I'm not making prints. I'm not making something that's going to a customer. I don't care. This could be as filthy as we need it. It doesn't matter at all right now. I don't care. All I care right now about one thing is getting these lines in as accurately as possible. The things I'm making, the prints that I'm making here, are going to be chopped to pieces. They're going to be used up as part of the construction process. So you saw Suga-san protecting the corners because she's making prints that are going out to people. how little ink it takes for these sheets. I'm using too much actually. The last one got a bit blurred. I put a bit too much ink on it. So. You get the comment all the time. People watch those videos. That last one was Suga-san. You know, she puts a little doop of color on there and then prints, and it's a nice deep rich color in the print. We don't use much at all. It's transparent. The paper shows through. Underlying colors show through. Five. One more. Okay, 6. We don't need this baby anymore until actual printing starts. Okay, now, how am I going to try and explain the next step? Étonné. Okay, I realize that the next step is going to be impossible to explain without having you see the picture. So, how do we do that? I don't have it on this machine here. Okay, excuse me a sec. Let me go to my other computer, find Jed's original, put it up somewhere on the website, send you the link so you can see the picture while I'm explaining the next part, because without that it's going to make no sense at all. So just a minute. Excuse me for 1 minute, 2 minutes while I go and do that. Back soon, just a sec. Okay, there we go. There's the image. Never realized how tall Dave is. I'm not tall, I'm shrinking. I had a hospital checkup last week, 2 weeks ago. They measured me and she gives me the number 177. And I'm like, no, it's wrong. I'm 179. And she says, I have news for you. Welcome to 65. Okay. An error. What have I done? Okay, hang on a sec. What have I forgotten? Mokuhankan.com/yokai. Just a sec. /yokai/images print _22 job.jpg. Mokuhankan. Yokai. Images. Okay, I get it. Let's try again. You know, like it took me 15 seconds to walk from that room to this room, and during that time, of course. What have I done? It's done the same thing again. So somebody's beat me to it. Very good catch, Scott. I give up, whatever. Anyway, the character in there, as I mentioned before, it's a totally imaginary character. Jed was just looking at I forget, he and I were just brainstorming ideas back and forth, so I've got no idea where it started. Idea 1, idea 2, idea 3, and what if. So the thing came up that, I don't remember how it started. Anyway, so Jed got the image, and we did it. But then, what's the story? Is this a yokai waiting to pounce on somebody? Or is this a yokai trying to blend into modern society? Or it's open season. We don't really have a good story for this. So if somebody wants to come up with a story, you're welcome to give it a try. Now, where's my notes about the colors? Hang on, next step. Okay, here we are. How much to explain? What to do here? Okay, I myself don't have it in front of me now, so. Okay, there's going to be 6 color blocks. If you've got that image in front of you, I don't know if mobile people can see it or desktop people can see it or whatever. Anyway, nothing else I can do but try this. What I could do is I can put it into the stream here too. Okay, hang on a sec. Okay. Where is it? Sorry for the messing around here, people, today. It's a different kind of stream today. Nothing else to say today. Different kind of stream here today. Okay, preview. Open that file that I just did. Downloads. Why the hell can't preview see it? Height. Move to my same desktop as OBS. Alright, this will take a moment now. To get it into the streamer, I have to open window capture, Yokai. It's going to come in too big, I'll have to scale it down. Alright, will that work? Let's do. There it is. Okay. Got your notes ready, students? Let's start with an easy one. You can see some green there. Now, for the most part, the green is within the lines of the key block. In other words, on these transfer sheets, what I'll be doing next, once I actually start doing this and stop talking about it, I'll be coloring in yellow the areas that I see as green, you know, on her neck stripe and all that. So this one's pretty simple. We'll get a green area colored in with this one. I don't color it in with a green pencil. I don't need the greenness at this point. What I need is the zone, the area. For example, I'll just start. I'll do it. Change my glasses. This collar area is going to be green. So get my fluorescent marker here. Color it in green, and this is the start. So you can see, so that's telling the carver later on, this is a specific zone. I'll next do her arms, you know, the other parts that are green here. So that's what's about to happen here, but it's not all so simple. If you look at her, change my glasses. If you look at her skin tone, the skin tone is going to appear on her face, and then it also appears on the right-hand side in one of the steamed buns in there. But if you look at the steamed bun there, it doesn't actually fill the space. So what I will have to do, and I'm going to make this up as I go along, I'll get a pen, and when I'm doing the sheet for the face, I'll color in the face, and then I will... Ah, I see. I'm not finished here. We're going to have to roll this back a little bit. We're going to have to roll this back a little bit. I forgot this print has 2 key blocks. This is what I get for staying up so late last night. Okay, yeah, this is as good as the time to explain it. Have a look at this. There's the main key block, the main black block. There's black lines, gray lines on the original that you don't see here. Look, for example, behind her in that area, on the wall of the convenience store, there's outlines of all kinds of stuff. Look in the shelf here where the food is. There's actually a bunch of yakitori there. It's outlined in gray, but we don't see it here. So what I did a couple of weeks ago, after this key block was finished carving, I prepared another master copy from Jed's Photoshop file, sent it to our printer, and we carved a second key block for the gray. And that has those background lines, and it has all the outlines of the food. And of course, idiot that I am, before we can start this process, transferring the color blocks, we also have to print the second key block. So let's just roll the tape back a little bit here. Forget the transfer tools at the moment. Let me just do a first pre-rub here without pigment. If anybody can understand all this stuff from this chaotic explanation, you're a genius. I'm going to do a pre-rub without pigment here to make sure it seems to be lined up. It does indeed seem to be lined up. So these 6 sheets now get a second stab at this. Don't shoot at me, people, please. I'm sorry. You have to hold the item off to one side. Ah, yeah. So the text on the left does say Murio. So that's another possible analysis for this. This is a convenience store promotion. There's something going on. They've either hired yokai to do this, or they've hired special people to do this, and the yokai has hijacked this. I have no idea what the story is. Okay, what's the layout here? Do I need to hide that thing for a minute? Let me shrink that down just for a sec here. We should be okay, right? So here we go. Key block with just one on it. And key block with the gray. Now we're not going to need all these areas for the background stuff because actually they don't get colors on them. What we're going to really need here is the outlines of those food types because different colors have to fit in those outlines. Got it? I wish I did. Can you hear the wind gusts in the background? We've got the leftover tail end of that typhoon that came through last night. Didn't really do anything for us. All the bicycles in the nearby bicycle parking areas are all smacked over and smacked together. But nothing here. One of the businesses across the street, there seems to be a sign blown down. But we clearly missed the brunt of it. I guess it went to the west to the Nihon sea coast, Nihonkai, Japan sea coast. I should get back to see where the chat is. It's all on a different window here. Proofing, color separating, yeah, whatever that means. This is the absolutely most critical part of the process of making a multicolor print. If you're careless with the color separations, for example, if I just got it a little bit out of one of these corners, if this was misregistered, then the final color block also, because the carver doesn't know, the carver just carves the shapes that's right in front of them on the piece of wood. They of course have no idea. Then the printer starts off doing the proofing, starts the key block, looks okay, puts the color in, looks okay, puts another color in, and bang, it's all over the place. And what's gone wrong? And if it's just a simple movement of one corner, the printer can fix that by putting a shim in. But if I've got this thing distorted in any way, or as I said earlier a few minutes ago, if I let the weather change and this whole sheet were to expand or shrink by a millimeter or so, then that resulting color block is unprintable. Okay, there we have. To recap now, we have a double key block. We have the key lines in black and the gray lines also here. So we have now pretty much all the information that we're going to need to get the color blocks sorted out. We don't have all the information. Some of that's going to have to be drawn by hand, but let's get that in a few minutes as we get to it. Okay, now try again. Put away the block. Put away the printing tools. And let's try that again. Well, let's go back to that one I was talking about. Is the picture large enough? Should I leave it like that? I think we're okay. Back to the explanation. Which side should I be on? I'm over here, right? That's the no-go zone. Okay, hi. So next one, let's look at the skin tone. This part of it, oh, you don't see my mouse, do you? Of course not. Just grab one of these. Let's just do this. Let's just do this. Looking at the master, obviously first area of the skin tone, her face. So we color it in. And again, I'm not using a skin toned marker. It doesn't make any difference. We're just delineating zones. There's the zone. Now, what about her eyeballs? Are they in or are they out? Can we see? Looks like the eyeballs are in. Sometimes Jed leaves them white. Looks like they're in. Now the skin tone. Now that's not the only skin tone. You can see over in the food case, those steamed buns are also printed with the same tone. And right away we can see here too, there's some information I don't have. Because the edge of that thing, the edge of those tones, doesn't show on either of the blocks. So I'm going to do it freehand. Looks like just a shadow around the edge. Jedson, close your eyes. Okay, there we go. There is one color separation sheet for the company print. This will be pasted on a piece of wood in a few minutes. You'll see that too. And the carver will see just these yellowish areas, and she will take away everything except the yellow areas. And when that gets to the printer, she will put some kind of pigment on it, and that'll print the face. We'll get to this in a few minutes. Let's just ignore this for now and just work on the yokai print. That's 1 out of 6. Okay, let's go back to the green one, because I already started it. And perceptive people, anybody out there perceptive? Might notice, oh, did that expand it? What a circus this is today. Yes, somebody's got it. That same gentleman. No line between yellow and green. Jed's done this thing with the, there's black outlines for most of it, but there's one place where he's done it with no outline between the yellow and green. So again, it's up to me to decide where this is going to go. I'm going to start with the green one and just draw it. Where does it go? Hits the bottom of that thing. He's done it with 2 kinds of curves. Okay, little curves each way. I put another little curve in there. Another curve in there. Another curve in there. There is an alternate way of doing this. If there's a whole lot of it, or if you really want to be accurate, we could have carved that line in the key block. Done the color separations. There's yellow, there's green, and then before the real printing, go back to the key block and carve that line off. It's called mudabori, waste printing. And we do that. I didn't do it this time around. Now, here we go. And there's a few things to mention about this one that are a little bit special. Let's see. Let me get to it first. Hang on a sec. A couple of things. One, there's an area in the middle that is... There's an area in the middle here that is not part of the green. It's something showing through, and it's really, really easy for the carver to get confused. When she gets to this, does she think Dave just forgot to color that in? Because I do sometimes. Or does she know about it? So what I'll do is, we've learned now, we put an alternate color in there. We just use this red color. And that tells her, nope, no mistake, I'm not part of this block. So she'll carve the yellow area first and then leave that one out. Now the other part too, I'll be telling her before she starts carving, this is one of those mudabori parts. So if she comes up to this line when carving the green block and carves a tiny bit shy, and when she's carving the yellow block, if she's a tiny bit shy, we're going to get a white line in between. So what she knows to do, and I'll even be telling her, is carve this a little bit, not shy, but carve it a little bit, what's the opposite? Carve it a bit wide. And when we get the blocks back into the first test printing, that yellow and that green are going to overlap by a bit. This is much safer because with a bit of overlap we can trim it till it looks good. But if there's a white gap, bang, we're doomed. Okay, so there's one more block. Am I in the camera? Yeah. That's the block that we'll do for the green, I think. Let me double check. Is there anything else? No, there's no green on the food. It's just her uniform. Okay, one more. Out. What's next? Now the next ones now start to get a bit funny. Which one should we do first? Let's do the yellow one. Okay, looking at the yellow one, we've got the top of her shoulders. Which one should we use here? Ettone. Let's pick this one. The yellow is the top of her shoulders, and that needs the same line as the green. Now, I've drawn it once. Do I trust myself to draw it twice in the same place? No. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you guys for a minute. I'm going to go over to a window and use the window as a light table and trace this. And I can't do that on camera. So excuse me again. Back in another minute. Okay, we've got the line transferred. Let's go for it. This is also part of why we asked the carver to carve a little bit plus rather than a little bit shy, because of this overlap. Okay, where's the yellow? It's this upper part of her body. To the line. And where else is it? It's at her shoulder. It's inside her collar here. I normally do this job over at my big Mac in the other room, a giant screen. Just blow it right up. Okay. The upper part of her shirt uniform thing. Now, two more places. We've got, oh yeah, her eyes. Jed wants her eyes in here. And we've got part of the food. This one. This one is also on the yellow block. And then, if you look at the cash register, the sign that says Mudio, free today, is in kanji characters. Now what am I going to do? Sit here and draw it? We have a much better idea. I printed it out from Jed's original Photoshop file onto Gampi paper. A question. Like there's no questions today for sure. Okay, hang on a sec. So now, this is a bit worth explaining. What I've got, the thing that I printed today, remember this is hard paper with Gampi on top of it. So when I paste it onto the wood, the Gampi will stay, the thin Japanese paper will stay, and the copy paper will come off. But if I do this now, if I put this transfer from Photoshop, if I put this on top, just a sec, let me do it first and explain it later, just a minute. I'm cutting very lightly, very lightly. Trying to cut just through the Japanese paper, but not through anything else. Hang on a sec. Taking away everything else except the lettering. So right here now, what you have here is the card thick paper, which will be peeled back and thrown away, the thin Japanese Gampi, which will be glued onto the block, and then on top of that, this part. And because it's on top, when we go down to the block, that's the part that gets the glue, so that will stay. So there we go. We have part of Jed's design transferred to our kyogo, the color blocks. And our carver will see this, and she will carve the steamed buns, the top of the shirt, the eyes, and this character lettering. So that's the yellow part done. And the next three I'm going to do also have Photoshop transfers. Let's have a look at them. Some of the hair behind the yokai, it's all tiny hair. I don't want to draw that. We want to use Jed's original drawing. Here's another one. Lots of hair. There's a brown hair and an orange hair. They're both going to get done from Photoshop transfers here. And then looking at the design, all those blue scattered tones in the background. I could draw them, but you know, my drawing skill is nowhere near Jed's, so we're probably just going to transfer them with this. So those three. Before I get to them, let's see what that question was. This is chaos today, you know. Anyway, whatever. Sort of matches my day, doesn't it? Where am I? Question box. Did I miss a spot on the green color block, the name tag? Yes, I did. There was going to be a checking stage, you know, before I move ahead. But yeah, here's somebody brought it up. Let's go back and do it. Thank you very much, sir. If I had missed it, we'd have been in trouble. The question was, maybe he's put it in the stream as well, I don't know. I did her green uniform, because I'm so busy chatting and fooling around today. There's a green stripe supposed to be on top of her name tag, which I didn't get. Let's do it. How big is it? Thin, eh? Doesn't overlap with anything else. There's no tracing necessary. Let's just draw it in. Color it in. Thank you, sir. You get a gold star. Glasses change. Next question. Is that going to be as productive as this one was? Yes, somebody else has got it, but just a minute. Top of the name tag and the apron neck. Is there still more I'm missing? Top of the apron neck for green. I think I've got it. You know, I think I'm okay. I've got the name tag now, thanks to the questions, but up the apron thing goes up, and the string holding the apron seems to be white. I think it's okay. At the end of this whole set, I lay these 6 out on the block, and I get my big overview of the thing, and I go over every area one by one, because always there are mistakes. But at the moment, I think that one is now covered. Keep sharp, you guys, keep sharp. What's next? Okay, let's do this one next. I'm not quite sure what it is. This is orange. There's an orange and a brown. I'm a bit confused as to which is which. Yeah, this is orange. It's, if you look at the onigiri in the bottom shelf of the thing, it's the orange. It's the yokai's skin tone. That's this one. Let's do that next. So the hair, you know, the hair behind the yokai's head is actually 3 things. It's on the key block, it's on the orange block, and then it's on the brown block. There's hair floating out on 3 blocks here. Anyway, let's do this. Some of this I can just color right in. For example, the food on the top shelf. The food on the top shelf, I don't need the Photoshop information because it's all on the key block here, the second key block. There's the yakitori. The food on the middle shelf, whatever it is, I think they're karaage. That gets the same tone. And then the food on the bottom shelf has an orange thing in the middle. And that's not Photoshop, we're just going to draw that. It is Photoshop, but whatever. Let's just draw it in. There's stuff that's important and there's stuff that any shape will do, and this is okay. Height. This stuff here, this is yokai skin in the middle. This area here is yokai. Her skin under her hair zone. This part coming down here. Here we are. There's a white string for the apron. She won't know to leave that out, so we color it with the alternate color. Another one here. Now something else that doesn't show in the original too. Look at her hair. It's dark, dark, dark brown. It's browner than both the skin tone and the overtone. And that tells us it's going to get both. So it's going to be on this block, the orange tone. And it'll be on the next one we do, the brown tone. What about the ear? Yep. And the tail. Okay, but now those next parts now. Jed's given me, this is the tone for the yokai skin, but it's yokai skin on the tail, which has lots of hair coming off it, and on the head, which has lots of hair coming off it. So rather than try and draw those two parts, I'm going to cut them off here and put them over on top. Okay, you get the idea? So think of the yellow here and the black as being the same. For the yellow part here, we're using the lines that have transferred from the key block, and then I'm pasting in on top of this Jed's Photoshop. So she will carve both of these together, the black and the yellow. And one more up on top of the head. I see there's some interesting stories developing, are there? Thank you, thank you, thank you. I haven't given this any thought whatsoever, so absolutely go for it, please. Actually, that brings something else to mind too, you know. Maybe some of you are collecting the yokai series and you know that we haven't actually done specifically intensive stories for these. We've just put a single title on them and just thrown them out there. We've been a bit lazy with this. I don't know if lazy is the right word, but whatever. Rather than write large-scale stories on them, we just put them out there. And sort of the idea was, we had a number of different ideas, but one idea was that we would do stories after we finished the series more extensive stories explaining what these things are and what they're doing, what we think. And then on top of that, one idea was to sort of crowdsource it. Is that the right idea? Just put a web page up with the images and let people make up their own stories for these things. I think based on what I'm seeing here in this thread, I'm thinking that might not be such a bad idea. Alright, so there we go. It's all combined now. She'll know what to do to carve this orange block. It's the areas that are cleanly outlined on the key block, plus a tiny bit of drawing I did, plus key block outlines with the addition of Jed's Photoshop data. So bingo, this will get pasted down on a piece of wood. In a few minutes you'll see, and that'll be the orange block. Let's do exactly the same thing again with the brown block, which goes pretty much on top of that one. What would be left after that? The blue. Okay, so the brown block again, it's got food information. So good, this is shadows. Okay, I gotta do this over there as well. Okay. Earthquake at Mokuhankan. Oh, that little earthquake we had the other day, somebody clipped it? Dave, will you show us the 10 Heroes books before they go to the back? Yeah, we're going to be posting about it. I know, of course, we'll make we're still putting them together. There's one we're still actually printing. We've got 9 of them. The 10th one we're still printing. So yes, we're going to make blog posts and stuff like that. What about the orange for the ear? Will that be covered by the other color? Have I made another mistake? No, the orange for the ear is inside this block, and it's in that black hair mask. That'll be orange for the ear. Then you can see now what's coming in a minute. This will be the brown one going over top of it, and this one has the ear space cut out. The ear space is missing on it. So good. Keep looking for mistakes, but that's not one. Okay, now, next one, the Photoshop data is in 4 places. It's the tail, an overlay for the tail, another overlay for the head, and 2 of the food groups have brown areas. And I don't want to draw these. Look at how complicated they are. I don't want to draw these, so I'm going to paste those in as well. But before I paste, draw what's necessary. Color in what's necessary. This is the brown. So it's going to be the hair again. I guess it's going to be the hair plus the Photoshop. That's all I got to draw. Okay. Let's try this. Oops, cut a bit too deeply there. Okay, the karage brown, and then Same thing on the yakitori. Anyway, curious about how this was done in the old days when there were no Photoshops, etc. around. The designer, what we would do is they would print these separations. We'd have printed the 6 separations or so. They would have gone back to the designer. And the designer then, it's Jed's job actually to now draw those karage shadows on these sheets. But given the Pacific Ocean in the way, and the time, and the distance, and the whatever, we ourselves construct these things based on Jed's Photoshop data. But if he was living here or something, he was sitting in our, in our workshop, then I don't need to do this. Just pass it to Jed. Jed, draw me these shadows. It's Jed's job to draw them, but I end up pasting them together because of the, the distance involved. But it's the designer's job. I mean, he's designed them as part of the Photoshop file, but it's his job to sit here and draw them on these things. Anyway, that's how it was done in the old days. Either the designer or somebody would draw them. I mean, the shadows on a piece of meat, who cares? They wouldn't bother the designer for that. Anybody in the workshop could do that. Okay, let's get it lined up. And same again. Lightly, lightly, lightly. Lightly enough just to cut through one layer of this. And the ear. What's with that bump above the ear? Should that be colored or not? What's going on there? I think that's a mistake by Jed, I think. I think that little bit, just at the top corner of the ear, should be dark brown. So it be done. Okay. So for the dark brown block, we have the hair doubling up on top of the orange. We have the hair cascading behind her head. Oh, one more. Tail, shippo. Okay. Again, to recap, the brown will be then her hair, the double impression, the streaming hair in the back, the tail, shadow and streaming hair, and 2 of the food groups. Hey. Last of the 6 is the blue background. Is that really what it looks like? Yeah, just kind of a random rough brushing. Hey, for a little heads up too, that's what we're going to be doing on our next year's subscription series. We're going to do the drawing style a little bit different from what we've done in this year's yokai series. This year's yokai series has sort of been quite classic ukiyo-e. Black line outlines with colors filled in, lines matching the coloring and stuff. The construction method, the technical method, has been classical ukiyo-e. This one now, I can see what's happened. Jed and I have been playing with ideas for next year's series, and he's actually referenced some of that here. If you look at the blue background to this one, it's not classical ukiyo-e in the sense of drawing and filling the lines. It's a more watercolory splash thing. And we've been, yeah, upside down. That'll do a good job, Dave. We've been playing with that idea while getting ready for next year's series, and it looks like he's been holding that idea in his head, because here it is in this one already. Is that it? Bottom of that stove, bottom of that shelf, overlapping here around her tail. I do believe that's it. In place it goes. So yeah, that's a hint about next year's series. We're going to have prints that are the coloring on them is going to be done more in this washi style, more of a loose brush style. Part of the recent emphasis to get Jed to be, drawing more rather than clicking too much. Now, I got a problem here. It's 9:15 already. And these things are going to have to go to our staff member, Kawasaki-san, today. But the next part, doing the color separations for the Kyosai print, are going to take me quite a long time because I haven't done them yet. And the Kyosai original has no colors. So what I'm going to do at the moment is we're going to step ahead. Okay, let's recap. Do I have desk space? We now have 1, 2. Let's just concentrate on Jed's side for a minute. Forget the Kyosai. 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's recap what we've done. Can you see them all? Good, you can see them all. Okay, I've taken transfers, the Kyogo, the transfer sheets. I transferred from the carved key block lines. Because this is a print with double key block, I also did the same thing on top from the second key block. It's a light gray key block. You can see it in some of these prints. There's going to be dark outlines for the character, then in the background there's going to be softer gray lines, but that still was necessary to outline different areas of the print. Then, based on the notes I made looking at Jed's original design, key block A, key block gray, I thought we could do this print with 6 color blocks. There's actually maybe 7 in there, but what we're doing is we've taken the hair, and instead of carving a separate color block for the hair, we're going to make the hair by doubling up. We're going to double up the orange and the brown. The hair is on both of those blocks, and that should give it a dark brown color. Checking now, have I got everything? The face block, Hada block, has one of the steamed buns, but nothing else. Check. The yellow block has the upper area of her shirt, collar, shoulders, nothing on the tag. Her eyes are there. There's the cash register Muryo, and there's a couple of food things at the bottom in yellow. Looks good. Check. The green block has the bottom part of her uniform, and thanks to Twitch viewers, the top of her tag and her collar. And somebody was asking for more, but I don't think there is. I'll take a close-up look at the master copy before I actually paste it down. This one is orange, which has got all the yokai skin, the visible areas of skin. It's got the bottom food here, the total area of the karaage, nothing on that one, and the total area of the yakitori. It's also got her tail, which we're going to pick up from Jed's design because we want to see the hair he drew, and the mass of the back of her head, because again, we want to pick up the hair that Jed drew. Height. These last two, this is now the darker brown, and we photoshopped in the shadows on the karaage, the shadows on the yakitori. Doesn't matter if the carver can't see the other lines around them. Again, Jed's tail, we've picked it up from Photoshop, and the back of her hair we've picked up from Photoshop. The hair area we can do from the transfer sheet. The last block, I've done nothing, I've just pasted on top, aligning it. The only reason I needed to print my own key block here was just so that I could do the alignment properly. Once we've pasted and pulled it off, there'll be nothing left but those black shapes. That's all she needs to see. Now I've got to do the same thing now for the right hand side, the Kyosai side, but I don't have any Jed data. It's all going to come from original. So let's just put that aside for the moment and just go through this process of showing what will happen next once these are finished. And what that is I need some wood. And let's do this imagining that it was going to be for this blue block. Here's some wood. This has been prepared upstairs in our third floor workshop by Aoyama-san, my assistant. He's not an assistant, he works here with me. I was doing this myself till last year, I guess, and he's now taken it over. And what we're doing, we've got cherry wood, which we've bought at the lumber yard, not the local lumber yard, the main traditional Kiba lumber yard, the place where they float the logs in from the mountains and chop them up, and all the lumber wholesalers are there. And there's very little retail done there, but there's no place we can go retail to buy this wood, so we go to these wholesalers. There's one yard there which for a long time, the third, fourth, fifth generation, I don't know, has been specializing in Yamazakura, the wood for our stuff here. Let me get rid of that yokai for a minute. And they're not out of business, they're out of the sakura business. They're making now tables for sushi counters and stuff like that, and the United Nations General Assembly made of these giant keaki trees. And he's done with us. He's not interested in messing around. So we bought the last scraps of wood he's got, and we're now involved in a search for more. But at the moment, what we've done is this. We've got the last bits of cherry from him, and he sliced it for us into about 5mm thick pieces. And we've got a bunch of it upstairs now drying. It's ready to go. And what Aoyama-san and I do is we've built a hydraulic presser under our staircase. We'll show it later, I guess. And we bond this wood. We've got plywood in the middle, a high quality Shina plywood, and we bond on the 5mm cherry on top and bottom. And neither of us are experts at wood dressing. We just roughly plane it first with a little Ryobi planer we've got. And then I've done some of these with a scraper blade to finish them off. And he and I are comparing the differences. We've got some that are David's scraper blade, and he's doing some with a soft belt sander with water he sprays on while he's doing it. And they seem to be pretty much equivalent. Our printers are a little bit on his side rather than my side, which I'm a bit upset about, but whatever. Anyway, we're numbering them all, and at printing time we compare the back and forth of it. Anyway, the next step on this is to choose one of these for each one of these 6 faces, because we've got stuff like this. There's knots or bits missing. And Lee-san has marked a circle on some of these where there was a pop in the grain and it pulled out, so it's not a smooth surface. He circled them in pencil to help me with this part of my job. And what I do is first is I do a mock-up on this, laying it in, knowing where the registration marks are probably going to go, laying it down and figuring out, are we safe here? And right now on this one, this does look safe. That wooden part is outside of my printing area. It's going to get chopped away. It won't make any difference. This one too, this defect is outside of the area. So this one could go on this block and we'll do it. We'll match it. We'll call it number 1 and we'll call this number 1. And what happens next is registration marks get carved. And there was some confusion the other day. Somebody was looking at this little plastic thing I used to make the registration marks, and they were thinking the size of this plastic thing determines where the registration on the print is going to be. And no, it doesn't matter. At this point right now, I could carve these marks anywhere. And in fact, as we were talking about on the Hokusai print, the octopus print the other day, I haven't actually put the registration marks in a corner because I had to move the picture in order to avoid in order to avoid a part of the block. So what I'm doing with this plastic thing, it's just for convenience, just so that I get this one and this one and this one all in a straight line. That's all it does. Okay, let's put them in. Who's here? Good morning. Doi-san, Soka, it's Monday. No, what day is it today? Monday. Soka. I totally don't remember. So today, it's you and Kawai-san today?
Yes, Kawai-san. And then,
台風の影響でいろいろ向こうのうどん屋さんの看板が倒れたとか。A guest visit, Mr. Persuader. Move this so the camera can see it. Right. Doesn't have much work for him today, just one tap. Hello, Kawai-san. Hello. Today I haven't been following the stream, so I don't know what's been going on talking-wise and stuff, so. It's not the doorbell, it's someone walked through the door. It's on the stairways. If you come up to the stairway, the 6th step, then the sensor catches you and lets us know that somebody's coming in. And it's fun for us. Sometimes, we're up in the shop or in the back room, we hit a ping pong, we have to go get ready, and then we wait a second, we wait 2 seconds, nobody opens the door, and we hear ping pong, and somebody's come partway up the stairs, and then they got chicken, and then ran away. This happens, it happens. And we've tried to make it look open and friendly, but there are people who are just like, oh my God, if I go in there, do I have to buy something? Do I have to get out? How am I going to get out? Are they going to trap me? Are they going to sell me stuff? Whatever. I get it. We would like to be on the 1st floor. I'm not supposed to talk about it. Just whatever. Okay, here we go. So there we go. We've got registration marks. And this is one of the big mysteries of this whole process to people. So let me run this by one more time. When we prepared the key block, I did the same thing. I cut 3 registration marks in, and at that moment they weren't registration marks, they were just holes in a piece of wood. Then when I prepared Jed's master copy, I put it on one of these things that I've prepared, lining it up where I knew was going to go pasted it down, and bang, that then becomes the master. So the master is then the lines of the print were in a certain place and the registration mark is in a certain place, and this now becomes the definitive thing from which everything else is taken. Got it? Words, words, words. So today I printed, I cut a piece of paper with a nice sharp corner. I printed it from this thing with the paper going into that registration mark. So this piece of paper that got picked up has the lines on it in the same place that assumes that as long as you go carefully into that corner, you're going to be okay. Then just now I carved the corners anywhere. It didn't matter where I carved them, but the key point comes that when I do this glue down, my paper has to go, bingo, carefully into that thing. With the glue in place, that image is now transferred in the same relation to those registration marks. It's just words, words, words. Until you do it, you don't grok it. Even before I started, I sort of thought I understood, what do I do? But until you've done it a few times, you don't grok it. But trust me, we now have, I can't do this yet in front of you because I haven't yet drawn the colors for the kyosai. But this afternoon, after I do I've got to get the Ome workshop set up for today's orders and stuff. But next job, I'm going to color in the same thing for the kyosai. Then when both sides are done, here we go. It'll be glue on the block, ready, 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 carefully in the corners, and bang, lay it down, peel off the junk paper, and out it goes to the carver. And maybe what I'll do is do that tonight, now that I think about it. There's a ton of work waiting for me today. So during the day, I'll get the kyosai colors ready, but I'll save pasting it down until tonight so that we can see it on the next Twitch stream. Does that make sense? She's waiting for it though, it should go today. Whatever. We'll do it one of those two things. Okay, an absolutely chaotic session today. I'm very sorry about that. Interesting information. It's not exactly a tutorial. It's just too chaotic. But anyway, there we are. There we have it. Okay, it's also worth watching the schedule. Today's Monday morning. I'll be back here tonight doing something, either pasting this down or doing something. Tomorrow's Tuesday. I will not be here. I'm off to the Ome workshop tomorrow. There will be no Twitch streams, Tokyo time. Tuesday. Suga-san, say hello, say hello. Just a minute, say hello, say hello. Stop.
Oh,
Here she is. This is Suga-san. She's going upstairs. Today, 今日 Suga-san だけですか?
今日私だけですね。
でしょ。そう。僕1時間前、2時間前ぐらいに
ありがとうございます。
そう、no problem, no problem.
ありがとうございます。
Good, thank you very much. Where was I? Yeah, schedule. Tomorrow is Tuesday, Tokyo time. There will be no Twitch streams Tuesday. I'll be off in the Ome workshop. I'll be back here Wednesday morning. And I have to mention something else we've discovered. If you were in the Twitch stream the other day, somebody mentioned he either worked at Twitch or had contact with somebody at Twitch, and he was going to send a feeler through for me to find out how I stand on this octopus moving forward. So far with Twitch, the octopus hasn't been a problem because it's just been close-ups of, banging on a piece of wood. But once I get to the printing stage, it's going to be a visible image. Every frame of the Twitch stream, there will be, an erotic image, porn visible in every one. He went through and the answer came back that said, this is not going to fly. Twitch is not going to go for this. This was either a Twitch person saying so or someone with lots of experience saying so. And they said, Dave, you're not going to be able to do this. So, given that I really, really don't want to lose this streaming ability, what we're going to do is this. I have 2 more big jobs waiting for me in the next couple of weeks. I have to carve a design for our gift print, and I have to carve the design for our New Year's card. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to try and get those ready so that the bulk of these Twitch streams over the next couple of weeks can be the carving on that. And when I carve the hair, the woman's hair on the octopus thing, that's safe. I'll put that on a stream, but it's not going to be like today or tomorrow. I'll let everybody know when it's happening. So bear with me for a minute while I sort of sort this out and try and keep this thing together without getting in risk of losing it. And when it does come time to print the octopus print, I guess what I'll be doing is videoing it separately from Twitch and making YouTube videos and putting them on the octopus print YouTube channel rather than live streaming. That looks like might be what we have to do. I'm sorry. I know. Like I said, number 1 priority is to keep this channel and not get kicked off the platform. And I get it. There's kids here, you know. I don't want to be too selfish and think about just my own requirements here. I have to understand it's an open public platform. And this image is not, you know, not cool with some of that. Anyway, there we are. I'll be back tonight, off Tuesday, back here Wednesday morning. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a lot of fun reading this chat today, because I have no idea what's going on back and forth. And maybe I've forgotten more things. We'll see. Enough for now. Thank you very much. See you next time.